All right, hello and welcome to Sweet Cheese. I'm your host, Kavi Karnapurdas. And today we have a very special guest, Ian Nene.
And Nene is actually the short form for Munene, which is my actual name. So it's Ian Munene and Ian Nene works. So.
Wow. But what's your full title?
Well, it's Ian Munene Kanini Njokembiti Mario Masemo. But just call me Ian Nene, that's fine for now.
Had quite an illustrious past, you know. You were in the showbiz in Kenya, I hear.
Don't know really, haven't really given it much thought, to be honest with you, Kavi. But I just saw this book and it's just amazing. Let me just show it to everybody.
Yeah, but what do you have to say about female Diksha gurus in ISKCON?
Well, there's a chapter in the second canto of the Bhagavatam here, how the Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. And I'm just so inspired that this book has been reprinted for the 50th anniversary of the installation of Radha Raman. So when you go out on book distribution, you can actually distribute a book with Radha Raman on the front. So it adds a whole new dimension to the fact that the books are deities. So the book itself is a deity, and you've got the deities on the front, and then in the book you've got these are the first words of Shukadeva Goswami, and it's so hard hitting and moving and spiritually emotional, and we've got the opportunity to read and distribute this book during the marathon, and I'm really fired up about it at the moment, Kavi.
Yeah, it's not really what we wanted you to speak about. Anyway. But then you moved on, you hit the big time, and you were in some different shows and so forth. Very popular, I heard.
Yeah, well, just in Kenya though, so just very popular in Kenya, yeah.
But did the fame go to your head?
Well, I started because I wanted the fame, and so it did go to my head a lot. I realized most of these people actually who call themselves famous and who pride themselves in that position are actually really, really sad in themselves, or have a lot of anxiety in themselves because they thought that would give them the happiness that they deserve, but they're still searching.
So you'd say there's a lot of ego in that particular type of business?
Definitely, your false ego is shooting to 100 because your bliss is coming from the acclamations and, you know, the positive comments that you're getting from people, and, you know, people having your back all the time. And when people would, you know, hate on you in like one post or the other, you get other people saying, no, but we love him and all these things. And you go, you meet your fans. It's all about pleasing your false ego for sure.
Bring a present for your mother, mountain, river, sea or desert. Bring a present for your father, leaf or flower, fruit or water. Further higher, diving deeper, say your prayers, sing out louder. Sister, brother, come now closer. Win or losers, we all gather. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh.
the storm, I don't fear it. To get lost in the dark of the forest, I don't fear it. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Radhe Shyam. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Shyam. Call me a dreamer, I won't bother, I won't waver, I believe it. Call me a dreamer, I won't bother, I won't waver. Can't you see it? I'm just a feather, only a student. I'm all ears, eternal teacher, only a beggar, light as a feather. Came to learn, I lost my heart. Oh, 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 oh,
What would you like today? What would you like me to serve you?
Can I get some cake as well?
You want some cake?
Yes.
Of different types of cakes that we can give you. Our best seller is the banoffee pie though. Alrighty, so this is a banoffee pie. Banana and chocolate's really, really good. Nice and creamy and has a nice texture and feel to it.
Can I have some,
There
can I
you
have,
go.
thank you.
Sweet, Hare Krishna.
Can I have some cheesecake as well, please?
Oh, by the way, Kavi, there's one more thing that I wanted everybody to know, which is that when Prabhupada installed these wonderful deities, Sri Sri Radha Raman and Shri, it meant so much to him, the fulfillment of his spiritual master's desire to have a centre in London. And establishing these deities meant so much to him. He wanted the event celebrated all over ISKCON. So he wanted like festivals, like for a week, and he wanted the event celebrated in every temple all over the world. So it should be there in the calendar.
Yeah, but Radha, you're supposed to speak about women diction and so forth, and you're just ruining the show now. I have to stop. Yeah, I saw a TED talk where you were singing about being one.
How old you are, all that matters is that we are one. We are one.
So back home in my country, there was a lot of things that were going on based on, where you came from or how you looked. And all these isms started to pop up, and I was just at a point where I felt, like I had my friends and we're from all, because Kenya is very, very diverse. It has 43 different tribes. And so when we're having our presidential elections, this person would say, oh, no, but this guy is better, he's from our tribe, and this guy is better, he's from our tribe. And I was thinking, come on, but we're all one. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, it doesn't matter where you are. All that matters is that we're one, in the sense that we're not judging each other based on what is coming out externally. So we're one in that we're similar as the soul. I know if I say we're one, to some extent it might seem like it's impersonal, but I mean that we're all similar as the soul. If we take out this covering that is obviously changing, as Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, we're all the soul. So that's what I was trying to get it across at that time, but I didn't have the knowledge of Krishna consciousness.
Within your
And then how did you meet the devotees then?
So I came here to the UK to do my studies, my first year of uni at the University of Kent in Canterbury. And during the summer, I had to go back home and stay with my family. You know, I'm attached to my family a little bit. And when I go back home, I received some sad news about someone I really cared about who got ill with a disease that could be potentially life-threatening. And I started to question if a God truly exists, and they call themselves a loving God who, fulfills our desires, who, takes care of all of us and loves us, then why would something like this be happening to someone who, in my eyes, has been such a fantastic, wonderful human being, And it just frustrated me a lot. And I was going on somewhat of a bender. I started intoxicating at the time. I was really, really depressed, I could say. And it actually just happened magically that one of my friends on her Facebook page, she posted this picture of now I'd call her a Mataji, or a lady in Krishna consciousness who looked like a Prabhupada disciple. Or now I understand it was a Prabhupada disciple, but at the time I just saw this very blissful lady, with the tilak on her face. She has this face paint and she's looking very, very relaxed. And so I sent her a message and I was like, oh hey, I don't know what this is about, but I need you to let me know what this is about, because I'm trying to look for something to get me zen in myself. I feel very, very lost in myself as a spiritual being, trying to understand spiritual life. So can you please give me some clarity, because whoever this is on this picture has some clarity, And the post had some Sanskrit quotes, which I had no idea what it was, but I just found it so interesting. So she told me, I could share with you this knowledge, but you have to acknowledge that you're not this body, but you're the soul. And I was like, oh wow, that struck me, because that's the first thing I have to acknowledge as a basis. Everything else I've always known, we factor in the body as the primary thing. But she was making me negate the fact that we're this body and focus on the fact that we're the soul. And there was also that quote of we're just spiritual beings having a human experience. So I found that really interesting. And then she invited me to the temple in Nairobi, and I went prepared with all these questions. Why do bad things happen to good people? Why are kids born and turn 4 years old and have to die? Why, if God is loving, what is he doing? And they all looked at me and they were smiling, and I was like, what are you guys smiling about, And they started giving me these answers, but quoting Bhagavad Gita, quoting verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. And it was like a body of texts that can explain who we are and why we're here, that seems so ancient and so full in itself, exists. And they also gave me some beads and told me, you have to give it a go, try doing the chanting like this. And I tried it and I felt something in my heart. And I read this book called The Matchless Gift, a small 98-page book. And it just occurred to me that this is what I need to do with my life. And I immediately started becoming vegetarian, started to change my diet, and started reading more of the books often, and started visiting the temple more often. And I remember my mom was wondering, what is he up to? Why is he going to this place where these people wear bed sheets all the time, And it reached a point I even had to lie to her and tell her, I'm going for a party. My friend is flying back to uni, and they're in Canada, so we're having a party for a couple of days. So I went and I stayed at my friend's house, and then go to the temple, go to the temple, back and forth. And then one time when I came home, I had so many books, and I was trying to hide the books under my shirt. And my mom was like, what are those? And yeah, I uncovered it. She was like, oh yeah, I got these books. And she got very upset. And she was like, you should just go back to the UK. You won't find the Hare Krishnas there. They're here distracting you. Go back and study. And then when I came back to the UK a couple months in, I saw online Hare Krishnas in Canterbury, and I started to associate with them. Then I came to London, then visited the manor, and started now having more association with the devotees. And yeah, it became more apparent to me that, I think this is what you need to give your life to, You're always looking for meaning of life and trying to understand God for who he is and not what we think he should be. And this body of text gives you an understanding of how to do that and who God really is. And so I was like, I don't want to give it a shot. And ever since then, which was, 2 summers ago, I've been trying to dive deeper and learn more and experience and, soak it in. Kadambakana Maharaj told me, just soak in as much knowledge as you can. So that's what I've been trying to do now ever since, yeah. So that's my journey of how I kind of got in.
Here are some pictures that were taken in Wales when you went up to visit and take darshan of Deva Swami.
Yes. Yeah.
So you were looking quite ecstatic there. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what was going on?
Wow, actually, that was one of the most magical experiences I've ever experienced myself. When I first heard of His Holiness Devamrita Maharaj, I wasn't really attracted by, anything to do with him, because I saw, he's a Yale graduate, and I really detested education. I hated education. So I was like, what is this? This is just one of those geeks. So I wasn't really interested. I wanted, something more spontaneous and, sentimental. But then, and so even when I got the book, I remember I gave it to my mom, and I said, my mom would value this more. She likes intelligent people. So a Yale graduate is probably someone my mom would want to, hear from. And then one of my friends, who's now Nasringanam, has been aspiring for initiation from Maharaj for quite a while. And I knew about it, but never really discussed much. So I made friends from Wales. I'm sure you know one of your godbrothers, Kelly Kanana Prabhu. I get a chance to meet him, and we only just had an interaction for like 2 minutes, but I felt like I'd known him for my entire life. And so he'd always told me, no, you should come down at this time. My Guru Maharaj is going to be here. He's really cool. If you can come spend some time together, probably do some books. That was the idea. And I was like, great. And so I talked to Nashinganam, who was then Nikhil, and we were like, let's go. And so I decided, okay, let's go. And right before leaving, I looked online and I saw a video of Devamrita Maharaj talking about how he got into Krishna consciousness. And he was explaining that as he was in Yale, he was looking for a panacea because of his intelligence. They told him, here's the entire academic platform for you. You're here. What do you want to study? And he was saying, I'm looking for a panacea, something that can solve all problems of life. So I imagine for someone who's in Yale, he must have done some intense study, and, paid into the depths of all these different kind of theistic, roots and forms of knowledge. And so for him to have chosen Krishna consciousness as a final route, I was like, wow, that's probably something then, And then when I got there and I ended up going into his first class and experiencing how he spoke, it was like magical. He has a very a nice way to make you understand the realities of life in a way that's palatable, humorous, but at the same time you feel like, oh my days, I need to do something. And I found that really, really interesting. And I was really much attracted, and his mercy just permeated through the whole room, and everyone just felt so ecstatic. And so every time we'd even chant together, I just wanted to let loose, because I love to dance. I think that's probably one thing that's happened in my nature. I just love to dance. But he made me have this feeling of just letting go and not caring, because at times you think about, is someone looking at me, or should I do this move like this? But when he was chanting, I felt this feeling of, just let go and enjoy and, focus on the mantra and, serve the lordships. And it was one of the most life-changing experiences, how he spoke. I even got to have a one-on-one interaction with him, and how he spoke to me. He made me understand, what I need as an individual, and not just what theoretically we all want or need in our selves, but what I personally need to be able to progress in my spiritual journey, because it's individual for all of us. And so ever since then, I fell in love with that whole atmosphere actually in Wales. The devotees there are so intimate, and because it's small, nice, and personal, and I like personal relationships. I think that's what sustains me even in this movement, is the fact that you get these personal relationships, and that just exacerbated that for me. And yeah, it's one of those experiences I don't think I'll ever forget in my Krishna consciousness. Yeah.
Even if you go far, you won't get none like Goranita. Oh, Goranita. Oh, Goranita. Oh, Goranita. Oh, Goranita. We do not deserve you. Oh, Goranita. We do not deserve you. Oh, Goranita. But you give